This is our weekly chat with head softball coach David Williams on MSUEagles.com. And coach, kind of a hectic weekend in a lot of different ways. You were originally scheduled to play 4 games at East Tennessee State. You ended up just getting in 2 down in Savannah, Georgia, one with Maryland, Baltimore County, and one with ETSU. But a couple of disappointing results, I know. Just kind of give us your thoughts on maybe what the team can work on coming out of these last 2 games.
Well, we did not play well this past weekend, and that's probably the easiest way to put it. We just didn't show up. No excuse for it. We just didn't show up. We didn't execute really in any fashion. We hit the ball okay. We just didn't push runs across like we normally do. But defensively, pitching, we just didn't execute. So we've already kind of had a pitching practice this morning to address some issues there, and we're going to work on some other things this afternoon, and we're going to try to get things right as we prepare for this weekend.
As far as I know, you're done with UMBC for the season, but you do see East Tennessee State again later on in the campaign back here at University Field on campus. Tell us a little more about the Buccaneers and maybe what you can do in the rematch to get some wins.
We got to eliminate unearned runs. That was a huge difference in the game. We hit the ball fairly decent. What the stat sheet won't show you is that we hit it right at people. Just hit line drives right to their outfield or to their infielders. They're a good team. They've got some good bats. Ideally, with almost anybody we play, we've got to hit with them. So we've got to do a better job of pushing runs across. But we can't have errors lead to unearned runs, and that was the unfortunate part against ETSU. And I think there were 6 unearned runs in that game, and that just can't happen. You can't be successful when you're giving up that many unearned runs.
I know you'd like to see some hitting with runners in scoring position, knocking in some runs, but you did have Dana Hutchins 3 for 5 and Kayla McGuffey 3 for 6. Just kind of tell us about those 2 individuals and maybe your hopes for them moving forward.
Well, Kayla probably saw the ball better than she's seen it any other weekend all year. She actually did a really good job, and she was really comfortable. And I think she had 3. I think she was 3 for 3 in the first game down there. And she's building block for her. I think it's just something that's going to get her going, jumpstart her some more. She was hitting over 300 coming into the weekend. That's just helped her out a little bit. Dana Hutchins, great hitter. Really patient, waits for her pitch, and she had a couple at bats that were really great at bats. I know one instance for sure, full count. She took a pitch on the outer half to right field and got a great line drive. So Dana just battles at the plate. She's going to get walked or she's going to put it in play somewhere. She does a really good job of that. And both of them were seeing it really well this weekend, and we made some lineup switches here and there, and they didn't seem to skip a beat. They kind of stepped into their new role and did a really good job. So, those 2 have been pretty consistent all year to this point. I just look for this to be a building block for them, and they'll continue to be consistent.
I know you would say it comes with the territory, not something you want to dwell on, but wanted you to explain to the viewers a little bit about the administrative side of scheduling and rescheduling and moving games and getting umpires and getting on the same page with opponents. I know it's difficult for you and your staff. You go into the week, like I said at the beginning of the interview, with hopefully 4 games at East Tennessee State. You come away with a 2-day situation down in Savannah, Georgia. But just give us a brief synopsis of kind of how things were, say, Tuesday through Thursday before you left.
Well, the decision to kind of cancel everything at ETSU really wasn't made till Thursday morning, and we were scrambling as most of the coaches in the country were. Everybody was trying to find places to go because of the winter weather that had moved through the south, and that's where everybody goes this time of year to play games. So the struggle was to find places that weren't affected by the weather and then find teams that could change their travel plans and get to those places. We probably contacted 30-some schools trying to find places to go, places to play, and we fielded calls from a lot of people as well. To pull it off was pretty tough. It's just one of those things where you got to kind of, deal with it as you go. And we were fortunate enough to get ETSU and UMBC down there and play some games while a lot of teams sat at home, but logistically, it's not something you really want to do because a lot of our travel plans are made, months in advance, And to try to pull something together in less than 24 hours, which we did, it's kind of amazing. We pulled off what we did, and we found a facility that was willing to host us, and we tried to escape to some better weather, but the weather seemed to follow us a little bit when it wasn't supposed to. But just trying to find places to go and play games is a challenge this time of year, and everybody's being affected by it. And I know a lot of teams are already starting the email exchange for this upcoming week because we got more weather coming in, and fields just aren't playable. So everybody's scrambling to make sure that they can play and find somewhere to go.
I guess no guarantees at this point, but you are hopeful on your last non-conference tournament in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina this weekend. The opponents there are the hosts Campbell Camels, along with Fairfield, IPFW, and Monmouth, if you could give us a preview of that tournament.
Well, Fairfield and Monmouth both have not even set foot on the field yet. They've had all their tournaments canceled because of weather. So one of those weather issues we were just talking about. So both of them have not even played yet. So they're 0-0, and both of them coming in from last year. They finished around 500 last year, both teams. They returned a bulk of their players. Neither team's gonna hit the long ball a ton. They're not going to steal a whole lot. Both of them are going to kind of play you straight up and try to grind it out with pitching and defense. So just like everything with those two teams, we're really going to have to put the ball in play and make sure we get runs across. IPFW struggling a lot this year. New coach, kind of a new team. They lost 8 starters from an NCAA qualifying team a year ago that won 40 games. So they only have 1 returning starter. So they obviously lost a bulk of their lineup, and including in that is 2 main pitchers. So a lot of players gone for them, and they're in that rebuilding mode. So they've been struggling a little bit. They've played some big-time teams, though, so you can't take them lightly. I know they played Oklahoma and Oklahoma State last weekend, so they're going out and challenging themselves and trying to rebuild at the same time. Campbell's one of those teams, they're always going to swing the bat well. Always. They've got some good pitching, but they're going to swing the bat well. They're going to play solid defense, and they're going to hit you from different angles. They've got the long ball, they've got some speed, and they're going to kind of mix and match and utilize all that. So we're just going to have to keep them off the bases and execute defensively. That's probably the big thing against them. But 4 good teams, chances to hopefully gain some experience and get some wins.
And I guess there is a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the schedule. When you finally get home on March 11th for a midweek with Dayton, you play 9 straight at home, or at least you're scheduled to. Is there kind of the attitude that, hey, if we can get through these non-conference tournaments, get a few wins here in Bowie's Creek, that things will eventually work themselves out? It is a long season. Yeah, no, that's actually one of the things we stressed to the players this past week. We haven't even played 75% of our schedule. So, and with such a young team that we've put on the field this year, they are trying to gain the experience. So we have stressed to them there is 75% of the season left, and there's a lot of ball left to be played. So we take some lessons from the first few tournaments and gain some experience from that, and we prepare ourselves to enter the long haul as we go through the rest of the year. And I think our players understand that. They're in good spirits. They've got good attitudes about it. And we've addressed a lot of issues over the past couple of days. So I think, if we can go down to Campbell, perform well, and really execute in a lot of areas, it will give us some confidence as we head home and open a homestand, weather cooperating, hopefully. I think our players are in the right mind frame. I think they understand now what is expected of them. And sometimes with youth, you just kind of got to ride it out and let them gain the experience. And that's kind of what we're doing at this point. Well, David, safe travels this week, and best of luck to you and the Eagles. Thank you. That's head softball coach David Williams. Be sure to check out MSUEagles.com this weekend for updates on Morehead State softball and anything related to the 2015 schedule.